P2, sequel to P1. No, there is no P1. There's no P. It's just P2. Parking Garage, Parking Level 2 is a Christmas-themed horror movie. So yes, it is December. We are going to be talking about Christmas horror. So leave your comments below on what you'd like to see me cover. I covered a good amount in the last couple years, so all the Silent Night, Deadly Nights, Gremlins, most of the obvious ones. But let's talk about P2 that was written by Alexander Aja and directed by Frank Calhoun, director of the Maniac remake with Elijah Wood, one of the greatest horror movies of the decade. So I watched this years back and I was not a fan. I was kind of like, I didn't care for it. But I've seen a lot of love for this movie. Anytime Christmas movies get brought up in the horror genre, people are like, oh, P2, P2, P2. And I just am always like, all right, and I always want to give these movies a second shot. Any movie that I didn't like, that everyone seems to love, I will always give a second shot to. So here's my second shot. And what did I think? All right, first thing I will say, the movie has a really smart protagonist. I thought that the main character here, the girl, the woman, the lady, the heroine, she is actually pretty smart, makes a lot of really good decisions. She's just kind of one of those impossible situations where just nothing goes right. Everything keeps fucking up. You have to remember, this chick she's knocked out, and then when she wakes up, she is in a horrid situation while handcuffed, and is handcuffed throughout the entire film. She's handcuffed throughout like 80% of this movie. That's crazy. Handcuff yourself and try to function. It limits your mobility like crazy. It's wild. It cuts down on your ability to be active and to function correctly. It's wild. Like I have kids, so we play games where you're blind for 10 minutes or something. You put on a blindfold, or you handcuff yourself and you do whatever. It's imagine trying to fend for yourself, run for your life, needing your hands, and really you have them, but they're limited. That right there alone is something we're not used to seeing. I mean, how many movies do you have the main character literally handcuffed the entire film? So, and she makes a lot of smart decisions. Just they go wrong because this guy has the place on lockdown. There's not really anywhere for her to go. They've locked every door, or he's locked every door. I would think there's moments in the movie where people would be like, oh, come on. But they're realistic moments. Like, for instance, where she's trying to stick her phone out the gate and make a phone call, and it just gets a signal, and she's having to stretch her hands as far as she can, and she's just holding it with the very tips of her fingers, and she's trying to look, and she's trying to hit it, and she's stressed, and her hands are shaking. Yeah, her dropping the phone and then not being able to reach him because her hands are handcuffed, that's realistic. People can be like, oh, what an idiot. What an idiot. She dropped the fucking phone because of the extenuating circumstances that she's in. I don't know. There's definitely character moments, plenty of them in movies where I'm like, oh, Jesus, come on, no one would do that, this kind of that. But I feel like audiences are way too tough on decision making in movies. So, but I love that she goes and she tries to lock herself in a elevator, and she's like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna wait it out here. He can't get to me, I'm good. And she does. She's just gonna station herself there for the night. Screw it, right? And so he takes a fire hose and he puts it on top of it and he turns it on and it starts flooding the entire thing. Awesome. That's a great sequence. Now, that being said, so we got a great protagonist, female lead, final girl, whatever. Gore is the gore. There's not a lot of it when it there's not a lot of kills, should I say? But the gore, when it is there, we only get really 2 gore sequences, maybe 3 if you count the dog. But the dude getting crushed against the wall, amazing. Just amazingly brutal. Just absolutely gruesome stuff. He's hit 3 times, and each one is just brutal. One's a cutaway, but it's like a hard cut, and the cut makes you feel it actually, but the one, like the first one where he gets hit against the wall and his rib cage explodes from the side, oh man, that's one of the most brutal car kills I've ever watched in a film. So great on them for that kill, fantastic. Then we get the, whatever that is, I think it's a nail file in the eye, in his eye, so we get to go see it go in. This is like Fulci style here. Gets to go see it go into the eyeball and then torn out of the eyeball like a couple seconds later. Great stuff. Freaking fantastic. And then, she brutalizes that dog that's trying to kill her, stabs it through the head and is like moving it around inside of its head, crunching it around. That's something you see very often, obviously, because of animal abuse in films or animal killings in films are frowned upon. But this is I don't want to say an evil dog because it's not the dog's fault. The dog's been trained to do this. And so you kind of feel for the dog, but in the same right, it's kill the dog or die. And in that situation, no matter what, you're going to more than likely protect yourself and kill the dog. I would. I mean, I don't want to kill any dogs, but if it's me or them, yeah, I mean, that's a, not an easy decision, but it's a quick one. All right, so those things being said, good gore, cool protagonist, good points. Here's the issues. There's little to no tension in the movie for me. I felt the film dragged, and I felt that even though I did like the decision making of our main character here, I didn't really care for her as a character. They didn't build her up all that much. I think that they could have spent a little more time with building her character up because she's assaulted in the elevator. This boss or coworker or whatever this guy is comes after her in the elevator, which we see later on his video feed there. And he's coming on way too strong. And then she has this relationship with her family, and that's really all we get to know about her. We know she's alone. She doesn't have a boyfriend. She doesn't have anybody. So we can surmise things for ourselves. We can kind of just fill in the blanks by little nuggets of story that's been given to us. Oh, well, she's being sexually assaulted or harassed at work, and she doesn't have a boyfriend, and, we know very little about her family situation. So as a character, she's just kind of like, you've got to like her by her decision making. And while I do like that, it just doesn't play off strong enough because I didn't care about her to begin with too much. She's just too bland of a character for me to care. And because this movie primarily focuses on her, I have to care. If this was just, a slaughterathon, and there was 50 freaking bodies in the movie, it wouldn't matter what her character was doing. But because she's in peril the entire film, and the other people that come into the movie are just secondary. They're not even for kills. One is, but outside of that, they're not really there for anything else but just to be background characters, secondary characters. There's nothing really to the story. And there's not a body count or anything, so you're not getting a lot of bang for your buck in that regard. So you have to like this character. And I don't dislike her. I mean, she's a very attractive girl whose tits are just dying. They're begging. They're on their hands and their knees. Tits with hands and knees. To come out of that top that he has on her. It's just like right here and throughout the shit. It's just, you're like, looking for like a peek of the nip. Like, is it, no, oh, almost, Jesus Christ. They're like, it's like the most cleavage you've ever freaking seen. But yeah, of course, I'm going to have to talk about tits. It's me. Why would I not? So yeah, she's a pretty girl. She makes smart decisions, but we didn't build her up enough. We know very little about her. Even when he's talking to her, there could have been great character moments between them. There could have been a lot of back and forth between them that built this up to something. Give us some moments where she's talking to him. Give us some moments where he confronts her about things that he knows. They could have played heavily into that, where he's followed her life. He's a stalker, right? So he could have had multiple instances where he was filming her. Let's say she was fucking around with other bunch of dudes in the place. And that this guy came onto her and he was like confronting her like, oh, what? So you'll fuck like this guy, and this guy, but like this guy is like one step too far. He could have confronted her on her, promiscuous behavior or something because he was jealous, because he's into her. It would have flawed her character, but it made her a more interesting character because of it. I'm not saying that's the route they could have went down, and I'm not saying that's what she was doing. There's no implication that she was doing anything like that. I'm just trying to add something that would have brought some kind of interest towards their characters together, because it's their film. It's two people, P2, right? It's two characters in a parking garage. So you've got to create something there that we can relate to in some way, that we can feel like, oh, wow, he's got footage on her of her doing some shady shit. And then she explains herself, and there's some backstory to why she's doing what she's doing, creating a richer, deeper character to which we relate to which then we care about. So then when she's in peril, we give a shit, and it makes the tense scenes tense. But because there is no caring, the tension is not there, and it's not really that well structured, just aesthetically and atmospherically. So there's not a lot of tension being created just through filmmaking alone outside of the character development. So this is where the film really lacks for me, and why the film ultimately is just kind of an okay movie. Got some great gore shots, got a smart character with great tits that never come out to play. But at the end of the day, it's just a average kind of run-of-the-mill movie. And that's a shame, because I feel like this could have been so much more. God, I haven't looked at my notes once. Stupid opening. I'm trying to even think back about the opening now. What the fuck was it? Wasn't it like some girl in a trunk? I guess that was her. Wait a minute. What is the opening? Stupid opening nothing with Stinger. There's like some girl in a trunk or something. Shit, I'm not even remembering that now. It was so inconsequential to the story. Did that even come back up? Who was that? Fuck. Now I'd have to go back and rewatch that sequence. I completely forgot. I wrote it down here in the open just to point out that it was a completely stupid, that typical standard horror movie opening where it has to be a stinger. Somebody screams, ah, and then the title card comes up. And then it goes into our news story. What? Oh, shit, man. I gotta look back and watch that. By the way, this is on Tubi, where I've been watching a few movies lately. And this thing had one commercial. One. And it was like right in the middle of the movie. And it was one commercial. So one commercial break with one commercial. And that commercial was like 10 seconds long. 15 seconds long. And boom, I was right back in. Done. Movie over. I couldn't believe it. One single commercial that was less than 30 seconds long for a full-on HD free movie. Wow. Tubi's awesome, man. You gotta get Tubi. It's crazy. Anyway. So she goes downstairs. Car won't start. Of course, typical. And so then he traps her, which is actually a pretty good setup. I like the setup for the movie. He's an obsessive employee who's been watching her through the cameras, which they don't play on at all. They have the one instance where he shows her the footage of her getting attacked in the elevator so that he can go and defend her honor. Then he has the video that she finds of him feeling her up, molesting her. I mean, obviously, she has to have known that happened. He changed her into the... You think he got that amazing body naked and didn't feel it up? Get the fuck out of here. Of course he messed. Now, of course, seeing it is worse, and I get it. Her frustration in the moment. Although I didn't understand why she attacked the television and not the VCR next to it with the actual tape that could be played on another TV once he hooks it up to that. So if anyone ever records you, make sure you destroy the device that holds the actual data which the footage is on, not the television screen or the computer screen that's being played on. That doesn't hold the actual, footage. So I just thought it was funny. I was like busting out the TV. I'm like, you might want to take the tape out and rip it up so no one ever sees it, since that seems to be what you're not a fan of. Oh, it pulled my camera a little bit. There you go. Anybody watching this probably got vertigo now. Her tits are insane. That's what I wrote. Jesus Christ. All right. She wakes up to a candlelit dinner. Oh, at least he gave her a better candlelit dinner than the guy in the other movie I just reviewed. Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss. That dude has been with his girlfriend for a year, and he puts some candles up on his dash and gets her burgers. This guy, in a security office, not only buys her a really sexy ass dress. I'm making it sound like this is a good guy. He's a piece of shit, but I'm just saying he at least went above and beyond, man. It was a nice little candlelit dinner there. He tries to play nice. She's not having. Of course, she lies about having a boyfriend. At first, she tries to play along, which is the smart thing to do. I keep telling people this. Like, if you ever get kidnapped and the guy wants, to make you do stuff or whatever, play nice. Gain his trust. And then when you have your moment, seize it. And kill the motherfucker. Anyway. Tell him Large Marge sent you. And yeah, I mean, Andy, in his mind, you have to remember, this is a very sick individual, but in his mind, he is giving her what he so thinks she wants and needs. She is lonely. No one treats her right. She's being attacked by jerks at work sexually. She goes home and stays late, and she goes home alone. Like, she doesn't have anything in her life. So he falls in love with her through the video cameras, which could have been explored upon much, much more in the movie, but bad writing did not allow for that. Anyway, I'm not going to harp on that anymore. It's just frustrating. Anyway, moving on. So he watches her through the cameras, falls in love with her, and then he tries to treat her to a nice dinner. He's going to give her this Thanksgiving dinner to remember. He's going to defend her honor by attacking and harming the guy that harmed her. He's being romantic in his head. I mean, while people's actions may be horrible, their intentions are interesting to consider. I'm not excusing anything the guy did by any means. But to try to get into the head of someone like this, it's interesting. Because in all actuality, as I said, he thinks he's the hero here. He thinks he's the gentleman. That's what makes the most compelling villains, is people who think they are, doing the right thing. And God, I'm not going to harp on the fact they could have explored this more anymore. Yeah, I'm done with it. It's just... I like filling in my own headcanon, my own story of what this guy was doing and why, and just kind of him being almost sympathetic, like he just wants to show a girl a good time. He just wants to defend her honor. But it's not really played all that well. And Wes Bentley, I think this is probably during his drug use. He's okay. He's not terrible in it. He's fine. He's fine. He's not the most intimidating bad guy. He does kind of have a crazy look in his eye, but he kind of always has that look in his eye. I mean, he looks like a total psychopath in American Beauty. So, especially when he's crying over a plastic bag. That poor dog. Yeah, poor dog. And oh man, when she gets soaked in that elevator and she comes out and it's New York in December in an air conditioned, heated parking structure that has grates that only, close off the outside so air comes pumping through. That parking garage had to be 30, 40 degrees. And she's walking around in some skin tight, very exposed outfit, completely soaking wet. They did not play on how cold that chick was in this movie. She should have been fucking freezing. Her skin should be turning blue. She should have been shivering like crazy. Her freaking hair should have been frozen. You know what I mean? There should have been scenes where she was trying to get some warmth. She could have used that dog for warmth after she cut it open and freaking, stuck herself inside of it like Luke inside of a tauntaun or something, Like, there's so much more they could have played with here. It's such a frustrating movie. I like his Blue Christmas dance sequence. I thought that was fun. Yeah. Oh, I like that she plays chicken with him and actually wins. She out-psychos the psycho. That's pretty cool. I like her. I wish I just got to like her more by knowing anything about her. But yeah, she takes him head on, so she's pretty badass, man. She's a good final girl. I'll give her that. She goes head on with him. He swerves out of the way. She tries to take a corner, and boom, she flips over, comes out, uncuffs herself, pops him on there, takes his taser, boom, lights his ass up on fire after she stabs him through the eye. Awesome. She lights this motherfucker on fire and just walks out of there like a boss. Awesome shit. Really cool. So good things, but just kind of a missed opportunity here and there. So just kind of averages out to it's fine. I think it's worth a watch for the Christmas time spirit. So there you go, guys. P2. Christmas marathon. Let's do this. I think I'm going to tackle Black Christmas next because I have never done the 1974 Black Christmas. I don't think. I'm going to have to look. But I did Black Xmas, the remake, and Black Christmas, the Blumhouse PG-13, more than likely shit movie that's coming out here on Friday. I will be seeing on Thursday, I'm sure. And I'm not looking forward to it, but it's part of my channel. I'm gonna do it. I also got that Hanukkah movie coming up. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but there's a slasher movie with Sid Haig and everybody called Hanukkah. Pretty badass, and it's playing in a theater up the street from me on Friday the 13th. Right here, the Dollar Theater. Couldn't believe it. So hopefully Alex from Beyond the Void podcast, and I can get maybe some of the people from the horror show over there. That'd be fun. So anyways, so look forward to a lot of Christmas horror reviews coming up soon. Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll be doing a lot of these. See you soon.